Gail and Bruce Montgomery of Experience Yes have developed and trademarked BRIQ, standing for Business Relationship IQ. It's a training program developing team and leader power skills in the areas of improv mindset. We'll find out more about what that means soon. That includes emotional intelligence, empathy, and influence. Their goal is to help business leaders get more sales, retain clients, and create high-performance teams. There's much more about their early careers that you can read about in their Authority magazine article. Congratulations for getting that article published as a thriving power couple. I want to start with, as amazing business promoters and entrepreneurs, it's a bit surprising that you both began your careers as actors. How did that happen?
Oh, we ask ourselves that every day.
It was a long time ago, Nancy.
Smoking an imaginary cigarette.
I am smoking an imaginary cigarette. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just happened. We met in college and we were both pursuing theater degrees. Mine was more focused in music theater, and Bruce was in what we call straight theater.
That's right.
Very serious.
I was very serious. Very serious.
So
so we got our degrees and then we moved to New York City and just decided that that's what we wanted to do for the rest of our lives until we had a brand new baby and a 330 square foot apartment in New York City. And then those ideas about what we wanted changed. So
just a little.
Yeah, made some adjustments there.
Exactly.
So you ended up in the business world, both of you. How in the world, Bruce, did you connect neuroscience and improv?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that, Nancy. So I was getting my executive MBA at the University of Denver, and I was in this entrepreneurship track. So this was back 2011, 2012. And at that point, Gail and I had been taking and then started performing improv. I think we started around 2005. That sounds about right, about 2005. So we'd be doing it for, 7 or 8 years. And
this was just for the fun of it?
We'd
been involved in the local theater. We thought we had given it up when we left New York and moved to Colorado. And instead we found the joy and passion for it again, just on a community level, not making a living.
That's right.
And then that led to kind of a group of us starting, co-founding an improv group.
And I'm sorry, Bruce, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we were.
Well, I do it all the time.
Welcome to
Okay.
No, I can't get in a word between the two of you. I'm trying to get out a sentence. So I was in my executive MBA program. We were on this entrepreneurship track, and they kept asking, what do you love to do? Can you turn that into a business? What do you love to do? Can you turn that into a business? And at this point in my career, I focused primarily in the IT, information technology space. I was leading information technology teams. And the fluffy communications class was never one that I really enjoyed all that much. I really wanted data behind it. So literally while in class, the lecture is going on, they're asking what you love to do, can you turn it into a business? And I went, I love improv. I wonder if there's any neuroscience behind what happens in the brain when you improvise. So I Googled it. I literally Googled it. And this researcher named Charles Lim came back with a TED Talk about what happens in the brain and what you do and all of the special things that happen when you're an improviser and what happens when you improvise. And that is how we started our business right there with that study.
It's really hard in my mind, it's hard to connect your technology track with improv, but you managed to pull them together.
I did. Yeah, it's unusual to say the least. Well,
it's very creative and innovative, isn't it?
At times, I know my IT brethren sometimes were not the most communicative or the ones that you really want to go to at times to solve problems and kind of where I made a secret in my career was I understood technology and I was better at understanding people, so I could relate those two things together. And then this was just a natural fit with all of that.
That's kind of your superpower, being able to bridge kind of between the two worlds, super technical people and non-technical people, and speak the language,
It sort of makes me confirm that our whatever path we're on, there are no mistakes, right?
That's right.
100%. Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Nancy, that was a very good improv way to say that,
Yes,
right?
it's true.
And it wasn't in my notes.
This is improv. We're doing it right
That's
now.
right. We're
We're
improvising.
doing it right now.
Yeah.
So this may not be sequential, but stepping somewhat out of the box, you took an 11-week cross-country bike trip from Oregon to Michigan. What was the reason and what was the result?
You know, I would say the reason was me. I was super disenchanted with the city. You know, I actually, before we moved to New York City, I'd never set foot in that space. And I was disenchanted because I happened to be an incredibly talkative, I don't know if he knows that, talkative, someone will save you. A very talkative and very kind of passionate person. I'm happy, I engage, I've never met a stranger. And New York is super, and I think out of necessity, really, it's very anonymity focused. Just get out on the street, do your thing, move from place to place. That's not to say people aren't kind in New York, because we found our people, absolutely. It's just out of necessity, you just got to keep working. So I was disenchanted. Our friends had just done a trip that was kind of similar. I asked first, could we go to Europe and work under the table? And, you know, I had to just travel through Europe, and Bruce was a little less inclined to do something like that. So the bike trip was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see us doing that, which is hilarious because I'm not athletic at all, or I wasn't at the time.
Not true.
Yes.
So that was weird. That was it. Something new.
Well, it sounds like both of you are really good at stepping outside the box, right?
Yeah, it's part of our business. And honestly, it's all about, now that we know this, it creates neuroplasticity, and you know, staying open and curious and doing new things just is really good for your brain and each other.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that when you started Experience Yes, you often stepped on each other's toes, but eventually you found roles that work for you. What are those roles?
Oh my gosh, were we specific about what those were?
You don't have to be.
You know, honestly, I think a huge piece is we're really clear with one another when we have something new we need to tackle. We talk about it. You know, sometimes we'll say, what do you want to tackle in this? And we'll be open about, well, I want to do this. Well, so do I. So how do we do this other thing that maybe neither of us wants to do? And then some other times I think we just naturally gravitate toward the thing that calls to us. Bruce is being, unfortunately or fortunately, he's more technical. So he does get stuck with some more of the technical pieces. And I tend to do more kind of, I don't know, I make things pretty and I write about them. And so
I think one of the things that helps the two of us is I'm a whiteboarder by nature. I want to draw boxes. I want to see a process. It's that IT background that I kind of come to if I can understand what the process is. So Gail, I think at times tolerates me when I do the, hey, can we go up onto the board? We have a huge whiteboard in one of our bedrooms. It's, 8 feet by 5 feet. And I just say, hey, in order for me to understand what our next, 5 steps are, I've got to draw it on the board. And then I go draw it, and then I say, hey, can we review this and just make sure that I'm not missing anything? And usually that will help identify, good, these front 2 boxes Gail's going to take, and these last 3 boxes I'm going to take, and then we know exactly where we land. At times.
It sounds very efficient and very intelligent way to go about it.
I'll slip you a 20 later for saying that. Thank you, Nancy.
He's good at keeping me on task. I'm a little more kind of ethereal. I'm like, let's just feel our way through it. So he keeps me a little grounded in that way, which is good.
Yeah.
My late husband had that role with me as well.
Love it. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
And vice versa, right? So Gail helps me rise into the clouds when I need to, when I'm stuck in the doldrums of the task. So that's just as useful.
He'd say, let's start teaching a class, and then he'd hand it to me to write the curriculum. And we need to do more skits in our class, and he'd hand it to me.
And go. Yeah.
And go.
Yeah.
And it was very useful, great partnership. I would not be where I am today without all of his ideas and also his encouragement of me.
That's lovely. And I'm
That's great.
sorry that he's your late husband.
Me too.
My heart feels
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you. So far, you are the only couple who has listed laughter as one of the tips for a happy, lasting marriage. That's a shame.
Kidding me.
That's really a shame, isn't it?
It is.
So how long have you been married, and what does laughter do for your marriage?
Oh, all right. So I'll take this one. We've been married 29 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gail robbed the cradle. I was 18 and she was 19 when we met. So we dated for 5 years before we got married, which is even bizarre
Yeah,
to think that
we were
we've
weird.
been together that long. And you know, it's funny. I don't think we ever thought ourselves as funny until much later, until we realized how much laughter was a part of kind of who we are. I think we just were in the theater and we were naturally, you know, kind of talented at standing up in front of people and entertaining and doing that. As we got older and as we started doing, things got, we'll say, more challenging, right? Some of those really difficult periods in our lives. We found that laughter was the thing that connected us most. One, we love the data behind what happens in the brain when you're laughing and how you connect with a smile, how you can tell when it's a fake smile. All that stuff is just, again, the neuroscience stuff in my brain goes crazy.
I like it too.
And you know, it's the way that we can release all the steam valves when something is really tense, when things are really difficult. If we can find a way to laugh, everything's going to be okay. And that's just the way we approach it. And it's been really helpful in our marriage.
I teach couples how to vent their frustrations or anger out by writing or playing basketball or yelling into a pillow or something, but laughter sounds like a much more fun way to get rid of that energy.
Yes, it is.
So important. I think there's some, and I'm not going to quote it correctly, there's some study out there about the laughter that, you know, children engage in terms of how many times a day they laugh and for how long. And adults are like this, you know,
like
10%
microscopic
percentage of that. And I don't think we are.
We're not like that.
I think we're more like, and not saying we're toddlers, just that I think we laugh like children and toddlers, and I just think life's too short, you know.
I envy you. I've been accused all my life of being too serious. It's only been, well, since I married Jim, because he turned everything into a game and there was always a lot of laughter, but so I laugh easier than I did before I met him.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's good.
How do you restore the energy that is spent on your business? And maybe you just answered that question.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we do that. Certainly laughter is part of it. I think, you know, I think we talked about it in the article about working hard and playing hard. And sometimes we need those carrots, you know, like to reward ourselves for things we don't really love doing or it took an especially long time to get done. And, you know, I learned how to play golf fairly recently. I'm super new at it. Bruce has been playing a long time. So we do that, or we'll go for a hike with our dog, or we play a lot of board games, probably more than the average family. My father lives with us, so we play with him. We play with our kids when they come home, and you know, lots of stuff like that. Reading books to each other. We do a lot of that. So
the other thing we have to, Gail, I think sometimes it's Nancy, sometimes it's challenging. Gail is very much an extrovert and I'm very much an introvert. So sometimes the reward is we're going to go out with friends, or we're going to go do this event with a bunch of people. And sometimes the reward is just the opposite, where we're going to stay in for the night and watch a movie. And that's all we're going to do. And both of those are restorative in different ways for each of us. Some in more ways than others. So we do have to balance that. Tonight is a good example. Tonight is a good example of that. We had somebody on the books tonight, and we've been staying down at a friend's house watching a dog, and it was one of those, like, you know, I just need a night off. We've been seeing a lot of friends. I need a night off. So tonight it's just going to be a night in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you get those times. We need we need things that refill our cup.
Yes,
right?
100%.
that's right.
Yes, yeah. And actually, that's been a good lesson for me to learn as an extrovert, you know, where I get my energy from others. He gets it from being on his own in very small, intimate situations. And so it's been a good thing to learn and compromise on.
So you're writing a third book. Do you want to tell us about it?
Sure. So it's the ultimate guide to powering up your team. And it's really about, you know, there are a lot of teams, business teams right now that are struggling, and in many ways. What it comes down to for us is always about relationships and the power skills that people have, the ability to communicate, the ability to listen really, really well, the ability to support each other and not get jealous or reactionary, the ability to trust instincts and to just connect, put yourself aside. And so we've seen a lot of this in the other business that we've done, and we've just never kind of put it together and realized what a great guide or kind of step-by-step, I guess, lessons these can be for leaders to just help their teams power them up, help them connect more. We have a little dog that rang a bell. And I think it's all about, you know, deeper relationships with customers, deeper relationships with each other, retaining clients and making sales, and just establishing that as a team, you can be different because you can be more human and more passionate about those relationships, as opposed to just being all about the sale and not listening and not connecting. Hold on one second. Dogs that ring a bell to go out.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're writing about that right now, because a lot of leaders are struggling with burnout and lost customers and people just unhappy.
Certainly in the last 4 years, people have lost a lot of the practice that they had at how to relate to each other as human beings, right? We just
they're not in the office.
They're not in the office. You know, college students are coming out having never really experienced that, or they missed 2 years of that in their lives. And we know that that is a huge gap. And even though, you know, like generative AI and these new tools are coming out, they still don't fix the people challenge. They fix some of the technology, but they don't fix this. And that's where we really like to focus.
I really love that you want to start a movement to call certain skills power skills. What skills would you put in that category? And I imagine we'd be in agreement about that.
Yep. We'll just go back and forth. How about that? Listening.
Being really intentional with the way that you communicate to others, showing up as they need you to show up and still being authentic.
So empathy.
Emotional intelligence, you know, the ability to read a room, be self-aware, socially aware.
And how to connect through laughter and engagement. Those will probably be the big things.
Yeah.
I love that list. And I imagine you probably find with many business leaders, they're not that good at listening.
You know, I think, and let's be perfectly honest, I think we all think we're really good at it.
Yeah.
You know, and we know we've got challenges. We've got challenges in the phones that we carry, the watches that are on our wrist, the distractions that are part of instant messaging and direct messaging, and emails, and, you know, dings and all sorts of things that distract us. And you know, I can tell you from my personal experience, I'm on a journey to be a better listener. And it's not that I have all the answers. It's simply that I want to share what I've learned that has helped and helped us specifically. And, you know, I think we're changing. Leadership is changing. It used to be very command and control. And we're moving into a brand of leadership that's more conscious leadership, vulnerable leadership, and very heart-led. And leaders want to be on a continuous improvement journey. And that's definitely a skill everyone could use.
Yes, we all can do it better. We all think we're great at it. We're likely not. We can all do it better.
Yeah.
I wasn't that great at it until my marriage was in trouble, and listening was a skill I had to learn in order to improve our marriage. And we both learned, made a huge difference.
Yes.
Well, there you go. You're in a position where it was like you had to, right? In order to fix something. And so, and I think that's a really wonderful reason to kind of say, hey,
when two people are talking and nobody's listening, it doesn't work very well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you saying? I don't understand.
Yeah. I'll say it again if you'd like me to.
I got it. So true.
Yes.
Okay, so I really appreciate the time you gave me today. If people watching the video would like to connect with you, they can go to your website, which is experienceyes.com. And I recommend that anyone read the full article written in Authority Magazine. Lots of great tips in that article. Thank you again. Love your laughter. Love the connection I can sense between the two of you. And I certainly love the work you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Nancy. It's our pleasure.
Great questions, and just the best of luck to you. Thanks for shining a light over this way.
That's right.
Well, thank you. We'll share the light together, okay?
Love it.
You got it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.